So good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good
morning, sir.
So this is the first attempt that we have. Okay. Hope still people are joining. So I'll be talking a bit about mechatronics today. As you all know, I'm Professor V.V. Poddar from Mechanical Department. And I'll be dealing with this subject of mechatronics. In fact, it is a subject dealt by electronics people as such, but as and when required, we shall be taking up the expertise from electronics department as well as from industry experts. We'll discuss about the syllabus briefly, and before that, first of all, let me welcome you all for this lecture, so to say. And prior to that, welcome to final year mechanical engineering. You completed your third year. Now you are into final year. Now this year, as you all know, we have a revised curriculum from Batu, and you have 4 major credits. Those are to be earned, and those are mechatronics. Then CAD CAM you have manufacturing process 3, industrial engineering, and 1 audit course you have to complete. And you also have to complete your seminar work. You have to start with your project work, project phase 1. So this year is going to be hectic and useful. This is the first semester part I am telling you. In the second part, semester 2, you have electives, mainly electives, catering to the needs of, maybe if you are in the need of specializing in thermal power, you have subjects related to thermal power, you have subjects like robotics. You can select the electives in the second semester. That we shall discuss later on. This semester, we have 4 major credits. Those are to be earned by us. We'll discuss about the syllabus. Prior to that, I'll not talk much about this pandemic, but hope you are taking due care of yourself. Let us adjust to this new normal life that is thrusted upon us forcibly. Let us accept that with both the hands gracefully. Let us be positive in our attempts. And remember, at the end of this year, you'll be BTech in mechanical engineering. By the same time, June 2021, you'll be having a degree in your pocket and you'll be a graduate mechanical engineer. Now, though the situations are different, I think it is providing us a wide spectrum of opportunities. This is a temporary phase through which we are going, and we have arranged these video lectures, but slowly the things will improve and will come up with our regular coursework. These video lectures will be equally effective, interactive, as I told in my inaugural address to all the departments and all the students. You'll be provided with all the resources, don't worry. Even if you are at home, we have formed the Google Classrooms, and for each of the subjects, if you join that classroom, you'll find PDF notes, you'll find all the video lectures from experts from IITs to the related to your subject. So don't worry about the material. I have also collected much of the material. Those materials will be made available to you apart from our regular lectures. So as far as resources are concerned, you'll be having all the resources made available to you. Now it's your responsibility, though virtually you have to be regular, in our virtual class as well. We'll keep on discussing, and whatever doubts you have, you can post in my WhatsApp number. You can put your questions, queries, whatever doubts you have, whatever difficulties you're facing, you can share with us and we'll try to find the solution for all those things. So coming back to the subject, as I told, mechatronics is the subject that we'll be discussing today. And let us briefly see the curriculum that we have. Many of you may be having the syllabus. I'll be sharing, I have put it on my Google Classroom as well. We'll briefly discuss about the syllabus. We'll briefly discuss some topics today, and we'll just have an overview of the subject. As I repeat, whenever there is a requirement from industrial experts, whenever there is a requirement from electronics expert faculty, we'll be arranging all those lectures. I'll be focusing mainly on the mechanical and control engineering part related to the subject. So as I told you, the syllabus comprises of 6 units, as you can see on the screen. The first unit is related to introduction, and we'll be discussing briefly about sensors and transducers. The second unit comprises of signal conditioning and data representation part. The third unit comprises of different drives, those are used in the mechatronic systems. We'll be discussing mainly electrical drives, and we'll be discussing some hydraulics and pneumatic components. We'll be discussing some electro-hydraulic and electro-pneumatic circuits as well. A fourth unit corresponds to microprocessor and microcontroller, and we also have PLCs, study of PLCs included in Unit 4. Unit 5 comprises of brief introduction of control systems, and related to the control systems itself, we have the last unit, that is stability of the system. So this is a brief overview. We'll be discussing the syllabus all in details later on. This is just an overview, and as you can see, right from first unit to the 6 units, first and second units, first, second, third, all the 3 units are dedicated or can be dealt in by a mechanical engineer very effectively, not an issue. Microprocessor and microcontroller also we can briefly discuss, but as my plan is to make you more conversant with microprocessor and microcontrollers, I can always give you an introduction how it can be used. But what I want is we should be at the end of the course, we should be able to build small application circuits based on 8085 microprocessor or 8081 microcontroller or some PLCs. So with that view, we'll be seeking expertise from people from electronics, and I have few friends working in the industry who are developing the applications based on microprocessor and microcontrollers. So we'll be seeking help from these experts. The unit 5 and 6 can be, because I was teaching automatic control engineering for B mechanical students in the Solapur University syllabus. So that was the entire syllabus. Compared to that, these are only 2 units we have to cover. Those can be covered very effectively, not an issue. So this is as far as our theory part is concerned. These are the books, those are given in the syllabus. We have Bolton and Raven readily available with our library. Raven, Automatic Control Engineering by McGraw-Hill. We have maybe around 40 to 45 Xerox sets. This book is out of print presently, but in our library we have sufficient Xerox copies. Bolton also we have copies. I have a soft copy of Bolton also that I will be sharing later on. Mechatronics by HMT also we have 2 copies. Rajput we have. Alciator we have ordered for Alciator. These are the reference books. Those will be referring. Don't worry much about the content. As I said, I'll be providing you all major notes, maybe in PDF form, whatever handwritten material I have. So don't bother a least about the notes part. Then you have the second part, that is mechatronics lab also is equally important. Here in we have sensors and transducers readily available with us. We have earlier we had industrial hydraulics and pneumatics lab. So in our workshop, in our hydraulics lab, we have 2 trainer kits. You must have seen them. So pneumatic and hydraulic trainer kits are available, and based on that, we have to build certain circuits, and those can be done. Microprocessor, microcontroller also we have. Earlier also we had one mechatronics lab and mechanical department. So we already have purchased. But electronics department has got 32 kits of microprocessor, microcontroller will be using, because they have microprocessor and microcontroller as full-fledged separate subjects. So they have a rich lab available there. We'll be seeking their help. PLC also we have, an Allen Bradley PLC we have. So we'll be having practicals conducted on all these things, all these topics. Then we have a PID controller under our automatic control engineering lab. So this is the lab part. We'll be carrying out experiments based on these trainer kits. And I'll be sharing with you one important link, that is a virtual lab developed by IIT. Presently, COEP, College of Engineering Pune, Instrumentation and Control Engineering Department has this virtual lab also. So if you want to conduct experiments virtually through that virtual lab, we can always conduct the practicals. That slowly I'll come up with the plans related to the lab work. The evaluation part, though it is there in the syllabus, I'll briefly discuss the theory part. There'll be a continuous assessment of 20 marks through your assignments, quizzes and tests, which we'll be having regularly. Then you have mid-semester exam for 20 marks, and you have end semester exam of 60 marks. And as far as lab work is concerned, there also you have term work, assignments and quizzes for 30 marks, and you have an oral end semester exam. So oral examination will be there of 20 marks. This is as far as your syllabus and evaluation criteria is concerned. Let us start with the introduction, the first unit, that is Introduction to Mechatronic System. Friends, though this subject appears to be a new subject, practically in every walk of life, we have come across many mechatronic systems. If you go to your kitchen, you have microwave oven, you have mixers, you have refrigerators, you have in your house, you have air conditioners. So we have many mechatronics devices around us in our day-to-day life. Even in modern offices, we have Xerox machines, we have printers, scanners. All these examples are related to applications of mechatronics engineering. So though this subject is newly introduced, this is pretty old concept. We are already using these mechatronic systems in our day-to-day life. In fact, we don't find any dedicated mechanical device as such. If you take the case of an automobile, you have many embedded electronic systems in our automobiles, let it be two-wheelers or four-wheelers. Every gadget that we have, it has got some components of mechanical engineering, some components of electronics engineering, and some components of software engineering as such. So if you see today's IoT applications, Internet of Things, this is the present state of the art of mechatronics engineering. Even in this COVID era, we have so many drug delivering robots for medical applications. So those are also mechatronics devices. So let us go to the definition part of mechatronics. Now, if you break down mechatronics into two parts, this mecha part is related to mechanical engineering, and the tronics part is from electronics engineering. And as such, formally, if you want to define your mechatronics, mechatronics is the synergistic combination of mechanical engineering, electronics engineering, control engineering and computer engineering. This was first, as you can see here, this term mechatronics was coined way back in 1969 by a Japanese engineer, Mr. Moriya. In his company, Yasakawa, he floated the term mechatronics. If you want to see graphically, what is this mechatronic system in a graphical manner, it is nicely seen in this picture. This part is the electronics part. You have electromechanical devices, you have micro electromechanical devices, you have dedicated amplifiers, you have dedicated controllers, and then you have control electronics. So this is the electronics part. This is dedicated control engineering part, and this is the dedicated mechanical engineering part, and this is your information and software part. So if you just merge these four domains, you get the synergistic combination of the field of mechanical engineering, electronics engineering, control engineering, and computer engineering. So this is the amalgamation of all the fields. So you require basic knowledge of concepts of mechanics, mechanical engineering. You require some knowledge of your electronic systems as well. You require knowledge of control engineering, and you also require some knowledge of software engineering as such. And if you can see the outer ring, these are the application domains of this mechatronics field. Right from consumer products, defense systems, aerography, medical applications, aerospace applications, defense applications, automotive applications, material processing applications to manufacturing engineering. So virtually in every walk of life, you'll find applications of mechatronics systems. Now, what are the essential elements of mechatronics or mechatronic systems as such? As you can see here, it is given in the block format. Don't bother much about the details presently. We'll be dealing with each part separately as a unit. Broadly, we have mechanical systems, we have some part of electronics and computer systems, and some part of your information technology and computer systems. So a few mechanical elements we'll be studying. As you can see here in the block diagram, we have few actuators we need to study. We need to study some mechanical actuating devices. We need to study some of the hydraulic and pneumatic actuating devices, some electrical actuating devices we need to study, like DC motors, stepper motors, solenoids, voice valves, and servo motors. We'll be studying few sensors as such, some switches, some strain gauges, accelerometers, micro electromechanical device sensors will be studying, some photoelectronic devices will be studying. And then once that signal is sensed, that sense signal needs to be conditioned for processing through your digital control devices. So maybe you have, if you are generating one analog signal through your sensor, that is to be digitized. So you might have A to D converters, you might have some amplifiers, you might have some other filters, signal conditioning devices as well. Now this conditioned sensed signal would be sent to your controller. In the controllers, you have wide spectrum of control options. You have software-based controllers, you have programmable logic controllers, you have digital controllers, wherein that modified or conditioned signal that is sensed by the sensor will be processed, and the output signal will be generated, which will be actually actuating this your end actuators or end effector, maybe a DC motor which is actuating the device. So that digitally controlled signal can also be processed in such a way that it is suitable for the actuator. Suppose the actuator is a DC motor which receives only analog signal, and what is happening here? The digital controller is developing a digital signal. Now that digital signal should be appropriately converted into analog signal by using a digital to analog D2A converter, and that analog signal will ultimately actuate your actuators. So this is a broad distribution of mechanical elements. And if you want to see the progress of the type of control that is happening, we can have some graphical devices. We can call these devices as human machine interface as such, HMIs, wherein the progress of the control, the progress of system functioning can be displayed through your either your LCD display, LED displays, and earlier they used to have the cathode ray tube displays. So the progress of the functioning of the system can be seen on this graphical display device. Now, as you can see, it's a brief mixture of various mechatronics elements. If we can just take up a simple case of a washing machine, which is, let us say, a mechatronics device, we can identify various elements in that washing machine. Now, washing machine, as if every one of you must have seen it, you have a tumbler inside a washing machine where the clothes are put. That tumbler or the rotor is rotated by a DC motor, which is placed at the bottom in a vertical machine, and in the horizontal machine you have at the back a pulley driven rotor is provided with a DC motor. So in that washing machine, the ultimate actuating device will be your DC motor, which will be rotating or spinning the clothes we are putting in. Then we have certain flow control valves are also there, which will supply water and your detergents in your tumbler or whatever is the container, the washing machine container that we have. So those will be the actuators in a case of a washing machine. And then you might have maybe a level sensor for water level, how many liters of water is there inside the chamber of a washing machine. Some level sensors will be there. If you want to give a hot wash as such, what will be the temperature of hot water? So some temperature sensors would be there. And maybe if you are using concentration measurement device, you can have the concentration, chemical concentration sensors as well in that washing machine example. So those sensors will provide the data related to what is the requirement for appropriate washing machine. So what is the temperature of water required? What is the requirement of quantity of water? What is the concentration of the detergent that is required? And we have the preset data as far as how much is the torque that is required for washing of your clothes. So the sensors in that washing machine will sense the washing parameters, so to say. So those sensors will send data to the maybe whatever microcontroller we have in our washing machine controller. So that will be appropriately processed. The digital controller or the fuzzy controller, whatever controller we have in your washing machine, will sense that input data from the washing machine, and it will appropriately decide the wash cycle depending on the amount of dirt. In fact, if you have seen the washing machine, on the input console, you can select the parameters. If you want to have a 30-minute wash, if you want to have quick wash, if you want to have a rough wash, depending on your choice. So all those settings are available on the keyboard that is provided on the washing machine. Those can be preset, and whatever are the present parameters, those will be read by the controller. Those will be compared with your requirement, wash cycle requirements, and accordingly, once you start the machine, the signals will be sent to the actuators. And as the wash cycle is continuously in progress, you have that data constantly monitored, and as and when required, those parameters can be updated. So this is a brief description, so to say, of mechatronic elements. If you have understood, fine, don't worry much. I'm going a bit faster. It is just an introduction of identification of mechatronic element. As we are running out of time, we'll finish whatever is time is available at our disposal, and in the next class we'll continue the remaining portion. In the meantime, let us see what are, if you compare these mechatronic systems with the conventional systems, we'll find many advantages, and there are few limitations as well. The few advantages, as you can see on your screen, the mechatronic devices are compact integrated systems. They provide you flexibility, wherein your conventional systems are rigid systems. Once you have set a conventional machine, you cannot change the system parameters, whereas in mechatronic devices, your parameters can be changed, so it provides inherent flexibility. As compared to your conventional systems, wherein those are rigid wired, so to say. As I said, you don't have flexibility, and those are to be controlled through your cables and levers, conventional systems. Whereas with today's digital advances and availability of internet, even sitting at home, you can control your device at your farm. I can operate the pump in my farm, which is far away from my house, through wireless communication through my mobile device. I can communicate with the device, which is maybe 50, 100 kilometers away. So this is the additional advantage my mechatronic system provides by providing wireless communication. And as all these systems are compact and integrated, the utilizations are better and you get higher productivity from those machines. And this is a repeated point, integrated sensor actuation and control functions provides you improved performance. And more than that, this is very important aspect of mechatronic devices. Those devices can be provided with artificial intelligence. Those are self-correcting and self-diagnostic systems. If I want to give one example of a self-diagnostic system, I had been to this Suzuki showroom with my Swift car. I wanted to find out what are the problems with the average. So out of curiosity, I got into that service center, and what that service engineer did was just beneath the steering there is a some knob is there. There is one socket, and he pulled out one laptop connection, and he just inserted that connection with the socket that is available beneath the steering. So his computer got connected with the engine system, engine diagnostic system. And to my surprise, he asked me to start the engine. Once the engine was started, on the screen, the software started evaluating the performance of each and every system. All the performance parameters, like what is the torque that the engine is developing, what is the speed of the engine that was displayed, what is the performance of my cooling system, what is the performance of various other gadgets, those are available inside, what is the airflow rate, air mass flow rate, what is the fuel flow rate, and it carries out the diagnostic test automatically as a preset function. And he told me about some problems related to my wiper system, some problems related to my cooling system, and some problems related to my braking system. What I'm trying to tell you is that through these mechatronic devices, the diagnosis of the problem can also be done, because all these are interconnected, integrated system. The performance of each and every system in an automobile I could see, and similar is the case with other mechatronic devices as such, and that's how these mechatronics devices are highly reliable. Well, as there are advantages, there are few limitations as well. There are higher initial costs, and as a mechatronics engineer, for the design and implementation, the knowledge of mechanical engineering, electronics engineering, and computer engineering is also required. So these are few limitations, and it's not that everyone can design and implement. Any layman can design and implement a mechatronic device. Even a mechanical engineer has to learn some electronics and computer engineering concepts to become a good mechatronics engineer. And another limitation is that if I got a conventional existing system, suppose I have a conventional lathe which is manually operated, and if I want to convert it into an automated device, that is what is called as retrofitting. I tried it once, maybe a few years back, but it is not only costly, it is difficult also. So this is one more limitation. I cannot modify my existing system. I need to build a new system on a whole, and it leads to more costs. Some examples quickly we'll see in coming lectures. We'll discuss all these examples because I'm running short of time. We are on the Google Zoom meet probably. We have stipulated time. It is showing me the time is 2 minutes. I'll quickly slide through these. All these I have taken from net only. I have not developed these PPTs. I have taken the matter. I have added few points here and there. I'm sharing with you. I'll be sharing this PPT also. Don't worry. In my Google Classroom. So one transportation system example from automobile engineering, as you can see, at the wheel we have the sensors and you also have the actuators, wherein you must be knowing the concept of anti-skid braking system, wherein if you apply the brakes, the wheel doesn't get locked. The actuating device provides the pulsed braking action, so to say. So the flicker of braking actions in some milliseconds, you'll have all these braking actions quickly happening, and the vehicle, without skidding, it can stop. So this is one application of mechatronic system. Then you have a wonderful airbag system for the safety of passengers. As you can see this graphic, what happens here is you have on the front bumper, you have the accelerometer or decelerometer sensor. When there is a collision, the decelerometer sends the signal to the actuator which is inside. One airbag is there in the steering wheel and one is there on a dashboard. What happens is that signal is the sense signal deceleration. When there is a collision, there is a sudden deceleration. That signal is picked up by the sensor and it sends it to the dashboard actuator, wherein the gas or air is sent to the airbags, and within 10 to 15 milliseconds before your head dashes over the steering, prior to that, these airbags are ballooned or inflated, and the lives are saved. This is the navigation.